When paying vendors, information stored on bank records is important for accounting and for printing checks and advices. To access the Edit Banks process, from the Edit menu, select Banks. One or more bank codes may be created for each bank you use to process vendor payments. When creating or editing a bank, there are 4 tabs with relevant information. The Bank tab is where the bank code and name is entered. For accounting, the ledger account for the bank balance is entered here. Or if Adagio Bank Rec is integrated, a Bank Rec clearing account is instead defined. When check reconciliation is used to clear a payment with a different amount than previously posted, select the ledger error account to report on the difference. If your printed check forms do not already have your bank account number, enter this value here. Also include the bank institution and branch routing values, which will all display in MICR font. And if you have enabled electronic fund transfer processing for your company, an EFT provider code determines which EFT file format is used for electronic payment file uploads to your bank. On the Specifications tab, there are options for whether or not particular questions are asked when printing checks. One is whether a check alignment form is desired, and this is generally not needed unless you still use a dot matrix printer. The other is whether an additional advice form is desired to print or email to the vendor. Additional forms are very useful when printing checks that pay high volumes of invoices or when vendor payments are processed electronically. Also, select the check specification form that will be used by default when printing either system checks or manual checks, and the respective additional form for generating additional advice forms along with the checks. On the Series tab, when printing check forms by any method, the next check number is stored here. EFT processing does not use this value. If you are entering a manual check batch and the majority of checks require a printed form or EFT enabling, select the Print Checks by Default option, as new entries have this as the default value. If the manual check does not require printing nor EFT and simply needs to be logged into the company data, you may choose to have a separate check series with an independent set of check numbers that populates when the check is first entered. And if you need to create a check form with the amount not yet filled in, to be done by hand when the amount is known, you can enable a feature for this bank to print blank check stock. Enter the desired check number here, and from the Report menu, choose Blank Check Stock to print the form. Later on, this check number and amount will be entered as a non-printing manual check batch entry. And finally, on the Address tab, standard contact information for the bank is stored here, including email and website links. If your company data is integrated with multi-currency, there are a few additional setup fields available. You need to specify the currency code for the bank account, and also the currency in which you reconcile vendor payments. For each, choose the exchange rate table used for determining the transaction exchange rate. And for check reconciliation transactions that clear the bank at a different exchange rate than what had been previously posted, set the ledger account for the currency exchange gain-loss when clearing the payment. Predefine check printing defaults in the bank setup. For more information about Adagio Accounting, use these links on screen or from the video description. Thanks for watching.